Okay. Okay, let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we will discuss this plot although, but I will show you. So you can plot X and Y with something like here. So what if you have a plot and you want to, if you have too much scattered data, you want to smoothen it, or you want to create a line function y equal to mxc. So let's say that you have, uh, um,
Yeah, ma'am.
if you have
Yes,
you have to
certainly.
create a grid line. So let's if you have some plot like this and
Yeah.
you want to induce a line in this, or you want to make this data a little smoother, so it will give you a function like this. So if you want to plot, then you can do that. And
Yeah.
again, the multi-plot is similar. It will have multiple y's. If I just close it, so this multi-plot will have, you can have multiple y's.
Voice.
See?
Okay.
And then again, you can normalize, you can overlap your graph with a normal line, normal distribution or a function. So, or you can also use a sample of the data to create. So sometimes if you have too big, it
Okay,
will
okay.
be create a graph. Okay. So we'll close it. I'll come to this for everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, no issue, ma'am. No issue. No,
Okay.
yesterday you asked me to do when we were trying
No,
these options.
actually, you have to try only when you use the
Yes,
tool.
yes,
It will
correct,
be
correct, correct, madam, correct.
okay. I believe everyone has joined. Let's see the participant list. Yeah, 17 people. Works for me. So I have received the feedback that most of the people are not able to follow what I am trying to do here. So I want you to
Parent
specifically
of this is one of the parent talking. You can have an option there. Disable annotation. You can do that so that they can.
please mute yourself if you're talking,
And one of the parent
because
talking. Yeah, disable that annotation. Because in the options you can see options it is there. Disable annotation for this one
uh,
attendees.
Rama
There
sir.
is an option. You can do that. Only you can do annotation. They cannot do it.
Okay, can I mute him? Yeah. Mute him.
No. There is a talks are there. No,
Okay.
he wants to
So
listen.
I have received a feedback that you're not, most of the people are not able to follow what I'm trying to do here. I want you to specifically tell me what
Disable
is the issue that you
annotation
are
for
trying to face. Please speak now. Then only I will be able to streamline the
disable.
session.
There is one option. Disable annotation. So for
Please tell me.
this
I couldn't able to log in 2 days a week. The problem. I'm
Login.
login virtual machine
So, which VM are you working on?
that
Just a second. Let me. Your voice is a little weaker. Just
yeah, you are getting no.
yeah,
yeah,
better.
ma'am, it is there. Once it
In
is,
the
I'll help
DNC
you
port
out.
is 59980
It is
it is.
there. So
Okay, just a
next,
second. Let me just log in.
more.
Today I
You
can able
have
to.
disable
I don't know why.
participant
You are able
annotation.
to. Okay,
Show
fine,
names of the
great.
annotation.
Can you,
Just
Nivedita,
above
can you
that.
also reset Sharabi at 1 to 3?
What do you want
Just
to do?
above that. Just above
Restart.
Reset,
that.
Okay.
yeah.
Reset or restart?
If you
Above that
restart, you'll be able
option,
to log
there
in,
is
right?
one.
We're not able
Above
to
that,
log in.
there is one
Okay,
option.
okay.
Actually, you have to use update. You can use updated.
I will. Did you save your stream?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. It's today. Okay, I will restart.
Yeah, you can try now.
Okay, what else is the issue?
everybody, Samrud,
Hi,
That is only
Nivedita.
issue.
Samrud name somebody is
Please,
invited.
one by one. Yeah, tell me.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Yeah, ma'am. Yesterday you covered the theoretical concept of preparation.
I can't hear you.
Hello.
So, hello.
Yeah,
Yes.
please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. Yesterday you covered the concept related to data discussion, especially about the modeler, SPSS modeler, like how like the data can be imported and then how the attribute identification if you have cover it with clearly so that it will be very clear because whatever the icons and all will same to the data like where it categorical.
I can't hear you. It's very difficult for me to understand what you're talking. Can you use a different headset or talk from a little away?
Yeah, and
Yeah. In the meantime, we can have another question. Yeah. Yes.
speaker.
Okay. Your voice is echoing. Let's mute other people who. So whoever is not talking, please mute yourself. Yes, please. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, please tell me.
Actually, can you go according to the manual, Nivedita?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
because yesterday I read the manual. Because if you go according to the manual, it is very easy for us to read and follow it. And when you're starting the session, first let us know what we are going to do. You brief about the theory, the concept first. Then it will be easy for us to follow.
Okay.
Because many of us doesn't know the basics.
Okay.
So if you know the basics, then it's easy for us to follow.
Okay. See, I will tell you one thing. I know that I got to know that you have done a session where the instructor followed the manual and told you what to do. Okay. So, if you see this subject, okay, this is not simple creation of dashboards. Okay. Here, what we are trying to do is to develop a thought process as to how we are going to create a predictive model, how we are going to predict that something might happen. And this is not a one step exercise. Okay, we need to do several iterations. So, what I'm trying to convey here is that I can go by a module, but then you learn only the tool and not the concept. And here there are a lot of concepts that I need to tell you before you can actually perform that action. Okay. And secondly, the only thing I can do is that I can tell you, I can teach you the entire concept and I can tell you this is the part which I have covered. If that is okay. So I will tell you, for example, if you see here, I think I mentioned yesterday also, if you see this one, this is the first module, I guess. Okay. So this is the first module, and we started from CRISP DM, right? This is the introduction to data mining. We started with CRISP DM. I believe I told you the full form also, and I told you about what is business understanding, and plus I
This
gave
meeting
this.
is being recorded.
Okay, so I gave you business understanding, data preparation. So we started from here, right? Yeah. So we have covered this. After that, I told you about nodes and streams. I told you about what palette is, how do you use the mouse, placing the nodes, managing the nodes. I have told you this, right? So I am going through the module only, but the only thing is that I'm not telling you verbatim, text by text. Okay. So I will cover a concept and I will tell you where does it lie. Okay, so see, collecting initial data. I have told you storage, field storages. This is type node. Okay, storage and field measurement level. Okay, I have importing the files. Okay, importing the data, the sources palette. So we covered this, right? You remember? We covered this, right? You see, I have done this sources palette. So this is called a palette. This is called a node. This is called a canvas. I told that. So how do we import the file? We did that. But the only thing is that I'm trying to go in a way which is more convenient for you, which I feel, okay. But the thing that I can do is that I will cover a concept and I will tell you where it lies in your textbook. Okay, because if you go here, this chapter will tell you, where is it? This chapter will tell you only about importing the data. After that, it ends. Okay, but we are trying to develop a thought process here. Okay, so I will give a little more brief about what predictive analytics is and what it does, so you will understand. So let's see how we can make it a little easier. Okay. Yeah, next question. Yes, speak up. I'm waiting. Who's trying to speak? Is it Ramesh?
No, ma'am, no.
No, just
Okay,
a second.
so-
Kumar wants to talk. We'll just
Yeah,
talk.
please.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Nivedita, one request. Audible?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nivedita, one request. If you can set the objective of what we are trying to do, like at the start itself, it makes things a little clearer. Like let's say first session, we are trying to, objective is to import data from an Excel sheet and put it on our desktop. And corresponding steps in the sheet. It will be easier for us to go ahead and practice also once the class is completed.
Yes, you have the recording also. So you want me to write it in the text chat box?
Chat box or an Excel sheet, because recording, imagine listening to the whole thing just to get one answer. It will be difficult. So I would suggest if you can ask us to write down in some place, we can do it. Or if you can just put it in an Excel sheet and then share it with us, that is also fine. Basically, what I'm asking is objective. Okay, today the first session, the objective is to get the data into the modeler. So what are the steps that we did? Corresponding method where we are using from the whatever the document that you are looking at. So that makes life simpler for all of us.
Okay, fine. I will do it. But remember that if we go by this approach, you're definitely not going to pass the test, because the test is going to ask you multiple things. Okay.
So for that we have the recording, no issues. We'll use the recording to pass the test. This is only for us to work through, because I'll tell you the disconnect. See, people here are, okay, honestly, not everybody is used to laptops. We don't use laptops in the college. I don't know if you're aware of it or not. So our hand movements are little slow. Okay. So if we are trying to do the same way what you are telling, and we will take more time to do the same steps. Let's say you're taking 2 minutes to do a step, we'll take 10 minutes, right? So that is the first disconnect that we have. So to at least alleviate that issue, if we are able to do it, it makes life simpler for us, and later we can pick up.
Can I interpret? Sorry.
Yeah,
Sir,
please.
one solution is that actually I too had a same problem, but I have solution. I have opened the live streaming, madam, what she's teaching. I opened in my laptop, and in lab, another machine, I'm working simultaneously with this virtual machine. So
I'm talking about not even handling laptop. You are saying YouTube live and other things. That
it's
is
not
not
live, sir.
not.
It is not live. Whatever madam is teaching, that webinar meeting, I'm opening in the laptop, and
Correct.
working, I'm using another computer. So it becomes very easy, sir. Looking and doing instead of working in
Ramasati
the
sir,
same
we are
machine,
also
it
in
is
two machines. We are also using two machines. We have a screen also. We have a projector also put in the lab here. Still, it is difficult
Problem
because
here
not
is
everybody is used to using a laptop.
sorry for interrupting you. Ram Satish and
Yeah.
sir, sorry to interrupt you. Sir, problem here we are facing is we are using the VMware, right? Virtual machine, that it's going to be slow. Network is going to be slow at the time. We cannot able to parallelly, we cannot do that. Whatever sir is saying, we have to follow that, because I'm also facing that last 2 days I couldn't able to
I
log
have
in.
never asked you to work simultaneously. I've asked you to see me and then do it.
That's good.
Yeah, I think Nivedita, we are all on the same page. I think
Yes.
different versions of it is what we are coming out with. So I would request you to set the objective of the session first, what you're teaching. Second is where the steps are. And the third, anyway, the recording is there. So that makes everything easier for us. For the exam, we'll look at the recording. To do a trial run and work it again, we will
No
look at
exam, you're not going to get questions straightforward. It's definitely going to involve hundreds of things together. So,
yeah. So at least we'll have something to prepare for the exam.
and your window will be locked. You can't use multiple things at the same time. So,
Yes, I know it will be similar to the TOEFLs and the GREs of the world. So I'm
so
aware
you
of it.
can't refer to documents or videos.
Yeah, we are aware of it.
Okay. Anyways, okay, let's
Right,
try
thanks.
to. Yeah. So no problem on the concept side, right?
Problem.
Hello.
It's only in terms of navigating.
It's mainly related to the virtual machine, how to
actually,
use that
there is
model.
one
This is-
practical issue I would like to address. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, please tell.
Actually, yesterday's video, if you have sent recorded one, evening, we will definitely practice once, ma'am, so that we will understand much better, and we will try out other examples also. So
Okay, I will say I will share it by today evening.
yes,
all
ma'am.
the
Like that every days. After the class, you can send. We will practice once.
Yes, I will do that.
Yes, ma'am.
I will.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
Nivedita madam, this is Sharma speaking. See, what I'm facing difficulty is, since we are working on virtual machine, the font is too low, and sometimes it is difficult to find the, if you go a little faster. So what I'm suggesting is, first we will observe what you are doing. Later we will note down the same process. Then in the third stage, I think we can practice. So if you follow this, I think everybody can easily follow. If I'm not wrong. Right. So after your observation, if I note down the process, then we can have a better practice. So you give me some time to note down, then we can will allow us to do that. So this is my request.
So, sir, I have not asked anyone to work simultaneously with me. You have to see me first, and
I'm not saying I'm not working simultaneously. That's
No,
the
I'm not
thing is, please give me a time to note down the process. So if you add this in between, I think it would be better.
okay, fine.
Okay, thank you.
So that's what Nivedita basically like. You just do a step and just give us 1 or 2 minutes. That's what Sir is saying,
Fine.
so that they have the time.
Fine.
Thank you.
Okay, so no problem on the concept part. So I will not go back. Okay. Right.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Nivedita, no, actually, some of us are stuck. So I'm not saying that we discussed yesterday, right? We'll do a little bit of basics.
Okay. Basics. Let me see how much I can.
At least the
Because
terminologies that you use, probably if we are sound of it, it'll be easier for us to catch as you explain.
terminologies like
Today we can do the basics and do a refresher of day before yesterday's and yesterday's.
okay. I believe we understand what predictive analytics is. Yes or no?
Yes, yes. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Understand what is predictive analytics apart from the Dr. Rama sir and one more sir. I can't see the name. Sorry. So apart from that, everyone is aware about what predictive analytics is and what we are trying to do, right? Okay. I have one. Okay. If you see my screen, I'll just give you a short snapshot. I believe you would have covered this in module 1 and 2 of this course. Evolution of predictive analytics. So what happened is that initially when we started gathering a lot of data, we started asking questions like what happened using the data, right? What happened with the data. So that phase was called reporting. Then there was a phase in 1990s when people started asking question, why did it happen? So we started analyzing those things that why is it happening in my process, in any business process. Then there was a phase in what is actually happening, that is dashboarding, which you have already done using IBM Cognos. Yes, anyone wants to say anything? Please mute yourself when you're not talking. Yes, please tell me. Okay.
That was nothing, Nivedita. It's just that somebody was not like in mute. So that's why you were able to hear to some echoes. So just
Fine. Okay. So there was a phase in 2000s when people started asking what is happening and they wanted to monitor a particular process. Okay. So this was the phase when they started doing dashboards and scoreboards. This is what you have done using IBM Cognos. Okay. So you are just monitoring what's happening. Then in 2010, a new field evolved which started asking question, what will happen? So what will happen based on past data, that is historical data. So what will happen can be done only using statistics. And we need to understand that statistics is not an exact science. In mathematics, you can say that 2 plus 2 is 4, but in statistics, 2 plus 2 can be anything. Okay, so this is the reason why none of the process is exact in statistics, and we need to model a particular process to understand that process. So let's say that there is a business, let's say we are doing kind of a marketing campaign, okay? And we have done marketing campaigns in the past, and we see that we have to contact more than, we are contacting more than 1 lakh people, and we are getting response only from 1,000 people. So there is a cost in reaching out to 1 lakh people, right? So what we do is that if we are able to understand that the nature of these 1,000 people who are actually responding to my survey or responding to my marketing campaign, if I'm able to understand their behavior, I would be able to predict what kind of people should I be approaching. Okay. So let's say that in my marketing campaign, my entire entire superset of people is around 1 lakh. Okay. Out of this 1 lakh, I approach these people through a phone call, and only 1,000 people are actually responding. Okay. Let's say 1,000 people are actually responding to my marketing campaign or survey. So reaching out 1 lakh people, let's assume that each caller spends around 1 minute. So there will be cost like 1 minute into each call. Let's say it's cost around 0.5 rupee into 1 lakh people. Okay. So there will be cost. So this is the cost associated with reaching out to those people, and there will be a cost of the telecallers, their salaries. Okay. Telecaller. Okay. So their salary. So there is a cost associated with it. Let's say that this cost is Z. So if I am able to understand what is the nature of these 1,000 people who are actually responding to my survey, then I will be able to cut down my Z. Okay. So I will not be reaching out to 1 lakh people. Perhaps I will be reaching out only 5,000 people. So I have reduced my cost for 95,000 people. Okay. So the approach that we take for understanding these 1,000 people and predicting whether out of 1 lakh people, how many people are going to respond to my survey is prediction and predictive analytics. Is that clear? Right. So this is how we do predictive analytics. So the data which we have with us today, okay, so we are going to try to understand the nature of these 1,000 people and then try to predict who's going to stay with Airtel or not. Only the problem statement has changed, rest everything remains the same. Okay. So this is one way. So when we predict, there could be 2 types of targets in the sense what we are trying to predict. Okay, so here we predict whether a person will respond yes or he will not respond no. So we are trying to predict flag. This is a discrete variable which is a target. So we call it a flag. So this is a flag that we are trying to predict. Okay. Flag. Then there is another type of target which is a continuous target. For example, we want to predict, let's say we want to predict income. So I don't know whether we discussed this. So income. So let's say that income can be determined by somebody's education, age, occupation, maybe marital status. Okay. So when we have a target which is continuous, we often try to estimate income equal to function of all these: education, age, occupation, okay, marital status. So when you're trying to estimate this function, you estimate this function. So let's say that this function is a linear function. Okay. I believe my terminology is fine. If you feel any problem in what I'm trying to say, just stop me and ask me what you're not able to understand. Okay. So let's say that for a continuous target, I want to estimate a function, and this function is a linear function. Okay. So if I have a linear function, how would my line look like? Let's say these are the data points. Let's say these are people with different educational level, age, okay? And I am trying to actually estimate this line, okay? This line. So if I estimate this line, let's say that this is, here on y-axis we have age, x-axis we have income. Sorry, the other way. Income is on y and age is on x. So if we try to estimate this line, then we have a value for y equal to mx plus c, right? Y equal to mx plus c. So y here is income. There will be some slope. We understand, I believe we understand slope as a function of age plus some constant, okay? So for any age, I should be able to predict income, right? So this is what we are trying to do through prediction. So there are different algorithms how they do it. So how can we standardize this kind of a process? Okay. How can we standardize this kind of a process? Okay. This is the way how we standardize the process. Okay. This is overall how we should approach. But each of the step, if you see here, is an iterative exercise. You'll see two-way arrows for each of the steps. So we understand the business, we understand the data. After understanding the data, it might happen that some data is you're not able to link how business is capturing it. So you go back again and then come back to data understanding. So once we have done these two steps, we go to data preparation. And this is what we were trying to do since past 2 days. Okay. So this is the objective, probably. So data preparation, I wrote that in Excel sheet, okay? This is my Excel sheet, and I have written you what all things do we do in data preparation, okay? You want me to repeat this also? Or this is fine? Do you want me to repeat this also, the steps that we did?
Ma'am, briefly you can explain once, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, fine. Because that was around 2 hours that I did day before yesterday. Okay. Let's start with this. Okay. So data preparation. Why do we do data preparation? So CRISP-DM, I told you about this. CRISP-DM is called the cross-industry standard practice for data mining. Okay, so this is the full form of this, and they generally ask this question. So business understanding, data understanding, and then data preparation. So we are trying to prepare our data for the predictive model. Okay, so here, generally in a statistical process, how do we do it? We design experiments, okay? So if it is statistics, what do we do? There's a process that you set your target first, okay? What you want to do. Let's say that I want to, so I'm telling you this example you might not find in your textbook. Okay, this is just to understand how we are approaching towards building a predictive model. So let's say that our target is to estimate the sales of India. Let's say cigarette sales in India. Okay, sales.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. Ma'am, can you explain the same with the churn analysis that you have done so that we can follow? Instead of taking this example, yesterday you have the data preparation related to term prediction. Right? So can you explain term prediction with the same so that we can at least look and follow this?
Ma'am, it's not possible to do it with churn because I'm telling you how we design statistical experiments and when it is about. So, because churn data is something which you receive from your customer. Okay. This is a secondary data source. When you have to do a statistical report from scratch, you have to go and collect the data. It's called primary data collection. Okay, so there are two different approaches. So we need to understand that whatever things you do with available data is a data which somebody else has collected. But when you want to go and collect data yourself, so I'm telling you this because it will be useful for you to create your own papers because you are going to collect your data yourself. Okay. So ideally, this should have been covered in spaces statistics if you would have done this course. So yes, so churn data is something which is already available to us. I'm telling you how we go and collect the data. Okay. I will try to correlate as much as possible. Okay. Wherever I am, wherever it is feasible. Okay. So target, let's say that my target is the sales in India. Okay. So I want to estimate the cigarette sale in India. Okay. Cigarette. So cigarette is sold in sticks. So we do not count. I can't write it full. Okay. So it is not sold as packets. I mean, obviously it's sold as packet, but the unit that they take is sticks. Okay. So if I have to estimate the sales in India, how will I start? Just think yourself and answer me. Previous year sales. Ma'am, we are starting from scratch. We do not have any data. We are trying to design how to collect data. So how will you approach?
Hi, Nivedita. This is Ashwini.
Yes.
Yeah. So when we are new to the market, when we want to start the sale of cigarettes, we have to decide upon the target audience. The target customers. So what is the age of probably the total number of youth who have the habit of smoking. So at the same time, we have to analyze the competitor. What is their market share? So initially we have to
sale of cigarette.
Pardon?
Not talking about consumption of cigarette. I'm talking about sale. So these are two different concepts. If you say consumption, then it is the youth. But even if you take like, let's say that you pick up 10 people around you, 6 of them smoke, that is not going to give you the sale of cigarette in India.
But if you want to sell your product, definitely you have to analyze the demand for your product, right, in the market.
So you're saying that
understand the demand, how will you predict your sales?
So you're going to go to every person in India and ask them whether they consume cigarette or not, and every foreign visitor who comes here, whether he has taken a cigarette, bought a cigarette or not, right?
The solution is do an analysis. What do you call the collection of data? Collect the data from opinion collection. We'll collect it and we'll further plan for the sales.
Collect the data from the stores
data collection.
Are sold.
Through the sample collections, they can collect the data.
Somebody stole the right thing.
Hypothesis test.
Sir, please don't say all the big words. Let's start from scratch. Okay, somebody said go to the store and collect the data. So yes.
Manufacturing is
correct.
So it is not the customer to whom. Okay, so you are not going to go to a person and ask how many cigarettes you consumed. Okay, you are going to go to the store and ask them how much cigarettes you sold. Okay, because if you go to each and every person, probably you'll have to go to around billions of people who live in India. Otherwise, you will not get a good estimate. Okay, so how we design this experiment is that we are going to go to stores. So we can so what we do is that we can divide the country into, let's say, regions, and say this is north, south, I believe this is west, and this is east. Okay, or the other way. I am always confused with this. And then this will be northeast, and so on. Okay, so we have around 8 regions. So in these 8 regions, how will I approach? So store is the sampling unit. That's what we call. Store is the unit from where we are going to collect the data. Okay. So how do we approach? So in India, let's say there are more than 20 lakh stores who are selling cigarette, and there are also pawn shops and kiosks and supermarkets, hypermarkets, everywhere they're selling it. So how will we collect the data?
The region also in.
Yeah, this is the region. No, we'll keep region as simplicity. We'll keep 8 regions. Okay. So how do we approach? So what do you think? We'll go to each store and ask them how much cigarettes you sold every day, every month, or every week? No, right? So
Distributor.
yes, so we cannot go to each and every store for collecting the data because of cost and time issues. Okay. So if you see the largest market research company, Nielsen. So this example comes from Nielsen only. Okay, so they collect the data for Coca-Cola because their market penetration is very high. You can find it even on a tabletop standing on the road. So how do we collect data for such kind of products? Okay, so we divide it into regions. We cannot go to each and every store to collect the data because of cost and time issues. Okay, so what we do is that we took one criteria as region, another criteria will take as type of store. Okay, type of store. So type of store could be supermarket, hypermarket, a tabletop, or a kiosk. Okay. So let's say 4. So in each of the regions, we'll have these classification. So how many combinations we'll get?
Combination.
C4. 8 C4 combinations we'll get, and we'll have a North Superstore, Northeast Supermarket, East Supermarket, South Supermarket, again hypermarkets, North Hypermarket, Northeast Hypermarket, tabletop. Accordingly, we'll have 8 C4 combinations, and each of them can be like this: a strata, a homogeneous group of stores in each region. Okay, let's say that. Okay, so let's say that this is North Supermarket. This is again North Hypermarket. And let's say South Kiosk, and so on. You can take up to South Tabletop. Okay, so let's say these combination, all these of them are homogeneous blocks of stores. So these are stores, okay, which lie in a particular region and are of a particular kind. Okay, so we call these homogeneous segment as strata. Strata. Okay, I believe this is a 10th class. They tell you about strata, stratified. So you pick up the stores and do a random sampling. Okay, and you create your sample. Okay, so probably let's say out of some 10 lakh store, you come to 1,000 store. Okay, and you pick up the data from these 1,000 stores, and these 1,000 stores, whatever sales they give, you project it to national level. Okay, national estimate. National estimate. Okay, so this is called stratified sampling, so that your sample is not biased towards a particular region. Okay, these criteria may vary according to the granularity of your analysis. Okay, so in this process, what you have done is you have designed your statistical sample. Okay, so this is the sample design that I will divide the country into regions and into types, and then you have picked up a few stores from each of the region and type and created your sample. So this is the sample design, and then you use this sample to estimate the national sales. Okay, so this is how we are working on this. So this is how we do the primary data collection. Okay, you won't find it anywhere because this course assumes that you know statistics. But the problem is here something else. Okay, so you won't find this. They will assume that you know this. So they will tell you how to do a sample. If you go here, I will just see my screen. Don't do anything else. Otherwise, I will have to repeat again, which I'm not going to do. Okay, so if you see here, in the textbook, you'll find how to do a sample. See, there's a sample node here. They will tell you how to do a sample, but they won't tell you why you're doing a sample. See, we did this random sampling, this one. Random sampling. Also complex sampling. They assume that you know it. I can easily go to the textbook and tell you, okay, do one thing, do this, import the data, put the type node, attach it to sampling node, and this is how you can do a complex sample and run it. If you want me to do this, it's very easy for me. Okay, cluster and stratify, this is what we did, right? Stratified sampling. This is what I told you here. This is stratified sampling. The module assumes that you know everything. Okay. So, so this is how we do the stratified sampling, and how we design the experiment, and how we collect the data, and how we predict the sales for India as a nation. Okay. So this is one way. This is primary data collection. Second is secondary data, which the customer gives it to you. Okay. So in those cases, if the customer gives it to you, the steps that I showed you become invalid. And this diagram has been made assuming that the customer is giving you the data. So you know IBM is a consulting company. We don't go and collect our data. We are given the data from the customer, so we do not deal with those kind of sampling experiments. Okay. But companies who do market research like Nielsen and Kantar, they sell data, so that's why they collect the data, primary data, so they do this kind of exercise. Okay. So data preparation. So once we have the data, business understanding, we do the data preparation. What are the steps in data preparation? I will quickly visit it. Okay. Once the data is prepared, we create a model. Okay. What is a model? Model is a mathematical representation of a particular process. Okay. Particular process in the sense, what I am trying to do is, the same example I will use. Let's say that we have our data set like this. And we want to, this is income for us, and this is age. And we want to estimate a line. Okay. So we are trying to provide a functional form to this. Okay. So what we did is y equal to mx plus c. That's what we are trying to do. We are trying to put this data set into a functional format so that we can have a mathematical representation of this process. Okay. Mathematical representation will give you this, and this is my model. It becomes a statistical model when you add an error term. Because statistical processes are not exact. I have already mentioned it. They are not exact. 2 plus 2 is not always 4. So that's why we always have an error term. So this line estimates this point with this much error. This is the error in estimating this point. Okay, so this is the error. So we need to understand that this is a statistical model. Okay, so we are trying to build a model that is a mathematical representation of the current business process. It could be linear, it could be non-linear. So there are different algorithms fall into both the categories, linear and non-linear. So the one which you see here is a linear model, but we could have non-linear formats also. And also we have non-linear in the sense y equal to, what do we mean by non-linear? Yes, that's a question. What do we mean by a non-linear model?
There is no
Please mute yourself. It's okay. I will just do it as a function of x square or x cube. Okay, or anything where x, the power of x is more than 1. Okay, so this is a non-linear model. Then there are models which do not assume a functional format. So not always you will get a function. So there are algorithms like neural network. Okay, we will go through it once we are able to finish the data preparation. Then we have something called SVM, support vector machine, that is also does not assume a functional format. Okay, so there are a lot of algorithms which can be classified into linear, non-linear, and no functional form assumed. Okay, so this is modeling. And again, when we are trying to build a model, it's not a one-step exercise. We can't get the best model in one go. It's an iterative process. Again, I'm emphasizing it's not an exact science. We are just trying to simulate a real process in a mathematical way. So this is not going to be a straightforward process. We need to do trial and error again and again. Okay. Once we build the model, out of the, let's say we tried 5 models. Out of these 5 models, we choose which one is better. Evaluation. Why do we have to do the evaluation of the model? Because let's say that, okay, let's say that I built my model based on the I discussed this on the May data. So month of May, I collected the Walmart sales for some product. Say that I collected the sales from Walmart for the month of May, and this is a daily level. Yeah. Okay. So for the month of May, I collected the sales, and this sales is a daily level sales. Okay, so let's say that for around 1 lakh categories of product. Okay, 1 lakh categories of product. 1 lakh categories of product. I have daily level sales. Okay, so it will be huge data. So I use this data to predict the sales in the month of December. Okay, what will happen? My error term will be very high. Error is high. Why? Because December is a month where they have a lot of festivals like Christmas and Thanksgiving. And during this period, the sales of all the categories will go high. So when the sales is very high, my error term, my error in estimating will be very, very high. Okay. So this is something which we call as a bias. That is what is happening here. Okay, that's why we need to evaluate the model. We call it evaluation. Okay, this one. So evaluation of model is necessary because you might have a sample selection bias. Got it? Any questions till now?
No, Nivedita. You can go ahead.
Okay. Fine. So we need to evaluate the model before we select it. Again, I'm telling you, it's a statistical process. Nothing is going to be exact in one go. Okay. So once we have selected the final model, it goes to deployment. Okay. Sometimes after evaluation, you'll see an arrow that goes back to business understanding. Why is it happening? Because after evaluation, we might realize that, oh my God, this is not working. I need to go back to step 1 and start again. Okay. Or it might go to data preparation again and start again. Okay. So this process is a continuous, it keeps on going. So once we select that, okay, the model is working fine and I evaluated it, it's fine, it's not showing any kind of bias. Okay, then what we can do is go for deployment. Okay, deployment means I provide the user, let's say that I'm an insurance agent. Okay, just a second. So let's say that I'm an insurance agent and I am going to collect some documents from, let's say this guy is an insurance agent and he goes to collect documents from a customer. Okay, so this is a customer. He goes to collect the documents from the customer. He asks him the basic details like his income, his marital status, and other information, demographic information and personal information, and then he uploads it in a tab. Okay. Okay. And sorry, he's a loan application collector. Okay. Loan application. So this guy collects the information on loan application. Okay. So he goes to the customer to collect the documents. He collects the information about his demographics, his personal information, his income, etc. And he uploads it in an app. Okay, so let's say this is a mobile app. In this app, he uploads all the information and he clicks submit. Okay, after inputting all the saying that there are 80% chances that this person will not pay back the loan. 80% default. He will not pay back the loan. So this kind of information is coming from a predictive model that is running at the back end. So this at the back end you have a predictive model. Okay, which runs on the existing data. So you remember you created a model, you evaluated it, so you did all this, right? But on the deployment side, it is actually the user, that is the loan application collector, who's actually using this application to input the data about customer and get a value whether his loan application will get approved or not, or whether the bank decides whether we should give the loan to the customer or not. Okay. Any questions?
It is clear till now.
Okay, fine. So this is how a machine learning model works. Okay. Machine learning model or data science project, this is how it works ideally. Okay. So we started, I think day before yesterday, we started from, so business understanding and data understanding is something we cannot do right here because we need to have a customer and his data for understanding. We started from data preparation. So that's what we are trying to do. So our ultimate objective is to create a model and deploy it. Okay. So how do we create a model? We can't create a model on the raw data. Why? Yes, why cannot we create a model on raw data?
Is unstructured.
Error rate is going to be
It many imputes.
Please write it if you are not, if it's giving too much echo, you can write the answer. Yes?
Missing values.
Not be missing values. What else?
Decision won't be effective. Decision won't be effective if we take error.
Yes, so almost there. So if we try to build the model on the raw data, there could be a lot of aberrations in the data which might impact your model. So what kind of aberrations can we expect? So there could be hundreds of aberrations, but the basic checks that we do are the one which we discussed. Okay, so we cannot go simply and create the model. Although these kind of things are getting automated every day. Okay, so the world has already reached the TUVs where you're starting from A's. Okay, so already a lot of automation is happening, but we need to know what is happening. Then only we can say whether the machine did it right or not. So trying to predict does not get confused. Okay, so I need to make sure. Are you losing me again?
Yes, Nivedita.
Now also?
Now it's fine, I think.
Okay. Okay, I'll repeat it. So we cannot build the model on the raw data because there are multiple aberrations and it's very difficult to for the algorithm figure out what is actually happening here. So we need to clean the data to help it understand a pattern. Okay, so what is actually happening here is that we are trying to detect some kind of pattern that is existing. So let me give you a use case. I think yesterday I searched it. Just a second. Okay, this might be a little blur for you. Let me just say, so let's say that I'm talking about marketing campaign. Okay, so we have a marketing campaign that is running. So we discussed already that if there is a marketing campaign, we do not want to reach out to around 1 lakh people and we want to reach only to the 1,000 people or 5,000 people who are more likely to respond. Okay, so that's what we discussed. More likely to respond. How do we say that they are more likely to respond? Because there is a probability associated with them. So when we predict that this person is going to respond. Okay, so let's say that when I predict that this person is going to respond my marketing campaign, let's say out of these 1 lakh, I have 1,000 people who actually respond. Okay, so when I predict that these 1,000 people, based on these 1,000 people who will actually respond here, I actually predict whether he responds yes, no, and what is the probability of responding as yes. Okay, I believe you understand this probability. So I predict my target variable, I call it y hat, and I predict the probability of y. Okay, so how likely, So this is the term that we use, how likely this person is to respond. Let's say that this person is going to respond is yes with a 50% probability. Okay. So 50% probability means he can also respond and he can also not respond. Okay. But something like 90% that he will not respond. So we'll have thresholds for each of them, that whether this person is going to respond is a 50-50 or whether is not going to respond is a 90%. Okay. So let's see this marketing campaign. What kind of analysis can we do out of this this marketing campaign? So what is the most profitable channel? So if we are advertising through multiple channels like print media, social media, and TVs, which is the most profitable channel? How do the customers want to be marketed to or communicated with? Whether they respond more when you call them, or whether they respond more if you send them an email. So it depends on which medium of communication is more suitable for them. Okay. How effective are our current marketing initiative? So success of a marketing campaign, how can we assess it? Okay, which type of marketing programs? So these all things which you see here hold in line with customer churn also. Okay, so you can say that which type of customers are churning. So we had the data, right? So we can say that customers who have an age greater than, so we did yesterday, right, one graph saying that married people are staying with the Airtel for a longer tenure, right? Remember that, right? Yes, no?
Yes, yes.
So we did a graph, we did an exploration saying that these kind of customers who are married have a longer tenure with Airtel. Okay, so these are the kind of questions that we are answering here. Which types of marketing program deliver the best ROI? What are the specific products that consumer will buy based on their past behavior? Okay, so these kind of, depending you have the related data, we will be able to answer this kind of question, like what are the signals of customer attrition? How can customer retention rates be increased? So if married people are staying for a longer tenure, should we target only the married people? So these are the questions that will come to your mind when you're actually exploring your data. So this is not a straightforward. I can teach you how to do a bar plot, but I cannot teach you how to interpret it, right? Then it is a failure on my part. So the objective of the course is not to only learn how to operate the tool. Anyone can do that. Okay. And obviously what you're doing here, most of it is already automated. At the end of the session, I will show you everything is automated within SPSS itself. Okay. But the objective is to understand that how things work, how to apply the concepts. Okay, fine. So similar type of questions, I can just share the screen. This is just a photo. So you can take this and you can relate it to customer churn as well. Okay. Okay, I will send you the link probably, so that it's easier for you to understand what you're trying to do. So similar thing you will do in your project also. So I don't want to see how you created a graph. You have to tell me how you created this story. Okay, I'll search it and I'll send you the link. Where is it? Okay, somewhere I couldn't find. I'll find it and send it to you. Okay. Fine. So till here, everything is clear that this is how we approach a predictive model. This is the CRISP DM methodology, how we design experiments, how do we collect the data, how do we do things, this is fine, right? So, okay, so data preparation. So we'll start with this step. Okay, so for next couple of classes, probably 3-4 classes, we will do data preparation and exploration. So this is the objective. The objective is not to import the data. The objective is not to run a graph. The objective is to prepare the data for the so the objective is to prepare the data for the predictive model. Okay, so next couple of classes, this is what we are going to do. Okay, so what all things do we do in data preparation? I will go to that. Okay. Okay. So data preparation, we cannot build a model on the raw data. So we need to check what kind of aberrations are present within my data. Okay. So generally what data you receive is often full of human errors. So sometimes you might have missing values. Sometimes you might have a human error by a data entry operator. So he's filling the age 20, 25, 30, and suddenly you see that he has entered 101. So it could be a human error or it could be actually actual data, but this is going to distort our distribution. Why our distribution is important? So most of the models in statistics, so we discussed that there could be 3 types of algorithms. One is which assume a functional format. Okay, one is functional, like in Excel. So there could be different types of model. Okay, types of models. Like first is which assume a functional function. Second, the function could be which functional format. Also non-distributed. Understanding. You have what is you want. So is what normally indicates the normal. It's general sense. If it is people who are very good on it, some people proper. So most of the ours. Okay, this is thing starts to whatever is the goes. Any as in those might be so the processor should with. So when we do the statistical inferencing sense, we are to make the hypothesis. Okay. So this is test. Remember, we have thing called stratified. Okay. So mod that seems something. So let's say the thing that we do. So say that flex force